Oh, my only crime was being happy. That's all I did. I hate you.
Holy shit, Danny.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mark It Down podcast, where I, James Gisanti, tend to cover only Impact Wrestling, but it's a Friday, there was a pay-per-view, so I'm covering Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. This was an excellent pay-per-view from tip to toe, great wrestling, great action, really pushed the story forward. I know we haven't covered Ring of Honor as much on the pod lately, just because, truth be told, other than one or two storylines, a lot of the show is just pure wrestling. And that's great. I have no shame when it comes to pure wrestling. I have no shame when it comes to just standard matches. And that's great every once in a while. But when you're dealing with a weekly TV show, it's a little hard to continuously cover the same action over and over with very little momentum. Now, I understand it's a new show. They're finding their feet. They're figuring out who works, who doesn't work. But some of it just has been a little plotting. So I've taken a break from covering Ring of Honor here on the pod. Did anybody die due to showing Dishonor? One person almost did, Nick. I wish you were here with me. I wish you had watched the show. It would have been a great thing to cover with you. But we'll cover that match as we get to it. But this was an excellent show. Like I said, great wrestling. A great starting point if you're looking to jump back into Ring of Honor like I am. Like I said, it's been a while since I've covered it. I've kept up with the program. I just really haven't covered it here on the show. But great launching point for what should be a lot of fun storylines moving forward, and a closing point for other really well-executed stories, such as the main event match tonight, which was the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. Athena defending against Willow Nightingale. We'll get there. I'm going to go through the card from the bottom to the top. But a great show. I can't say it enough. But we're going to start off with another title match, the ROH TV title, as Samoa Joe defends against Dalton Castle in a match that there was no way I could be sad with the winner. I love Joe. This has been an epic reign as ROH TV champion. The king of TV, the champion of TV that he is. He's been killing it with this title, this historic title reign. Now that he has this new belt, and I'm pretty sure the longest reign of this title in this title's history and this title's lineage. Joe has just been a dominant force. And Dalton Castle is Dalton Castle, period. He doesn't need an introduction. He doesn't need anything else to hype him up. He is the man of Ring of Honor, in my opinion. And I get that he can't be the main guy given, certain injury issues, certain age issues, I guess, even though I'm not a big fan of that excuse. But I love Dalton Castle. I've loved him for a long time, and I'm happy to see him still doing stuff with the company and to be on this higher platform now that Tony Khan has bought it. But yes, this was a fun match. There was a lot of taunting. There was a lot of mind games, a lot of Dalton Castle silliness. They wanted to tell a story with this match, and I think they did. The action wasn't, the same level, but when you have a guy like Dalton Castle and you have a guy like Samoa Joe who are just so good at telling stories, who are just so good at selling their characters, that's fine. The ending came after Joe had Stokely Hathaway kick out the boys, very sad, and lock in the coquina clutch on Castle. It was, it's typical Joe affair, typical Dalton Castle affair with all the antics and all the zaniness. Dalton doesn't need an introduction, but damn, does the man know how to make an entrance. Beautifully said. Where have you been, man? I miss you. Come on. That great comment. Even better if you had said it on air, but I'll learn to forgive you. The finish came with the coquina clutch being locked in on Castle and Joe getting the win. This was This was good. It was a nice start. It wasn't the best match of the night by a long shot, but it was a good way to get the crowd going. It got me going. And even though, admittedly, I had some technical difficulties as the show started, I was able to enjoy the majority of this match. And it was just a great, great showing between both of these guys. I have no idea who takes the title off Joe. Word is he was supposed to take some time off due to his commitments to his TV show, Twisted Metal. But now, due to the SAG strike and the writer's strike, his commitments are way more open. So I think we're going to see a much longer reign from Joe here as ROH TV champion. Moving on to the tag titles. This was chaos personified. I don't know how to explain this match. I'm not even going to try to cover most of it. It was my brother's birthday. I couldn't watch tonight, but because we were out to dinner. Well, I guess if you're going to have an excuse, that's as good an excuse as I could hope for or I could ask for. Please tell Matt I love him. Please wish him a happy birthday for me. If not, I guess I could do that. I guess I have his number. I guess I have his info, but I'm lazy. Or I've been told. But yeah, moving on, we had this ROH tag team title match where we had the reigning defending champions, the Lucha Bros, defending against the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Kanellis, the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, and Aussie Open, a reunited Aussie Open after being injured. Mark Davis is back and teaming up with his partner Kyle Fletcher. Very happy to see Aussie Open united, strong, healthy, back now that they are officially all elite. We never really got to enjoy that moment because of Davis's injury, but it's okay. All is right in the world, and they sure as hell delivered in this excellent match between these four teams. Like I said, it was chaotic. It was a lot to cover. There was high flying. There was blood. Surprisingly, the Kingdom, who is probably the low key, most, I don't want to say they are a boring team in comparison, but low key the most, the least high flying of the bunch. How's that? The least high flying of the bunch. They were really showcased in this match, and I like that. I'm a big fan of both men. I know they don't always get the best rep, but ever since Ring of Honor reformed, I've been really hot on the Kingdom. They've been a great team. They've been a great unit, of course, with Maria. Great stuff. There was a fun bit where Maria goes for a hug with Chuck Taylor. She's trying to woo him, going for the big classic hug, and instead he goes right next to her and hugs Trent instead. Great moment, really true to the characters. Everybody involved killed it. Where was this energy Wednesday? I had energy. I had absolute energy on Wednesday. It's just you have a calming effect on me, man. I feel so much more zen with you. For me, it was directed towards Justin Verlander, who, okay, no thank you. Dear Maria County, that was good. Chuck did not. And maybe that cost him. But this was a great match. It was hard to, I would not have been shocked with anybody winning this match. Truth be told, I would have been happy with any team but the Lucha Bros winning, because although they are an excellent team, they have done very little with the tag titles in general. It was a somewhat lackluster run for a great team, but that's okay because they're not champions anymore. Because guess who won? Aussie Open. It wasn't so clear cut though, because due to a referee, little mishap, a little miscommunication, the ref didn't see as Penta hit Trent in the head with a chair. The Kingdom went for the pin. I believe it was Taven who went for the pin, but that got stopped by Aussie Open, who hits their finish and then pins Trent for the 1, 2, 3. A very bloody Trent. It was his eye, it did not look great. It looked awesome, but it did not look good. It did not look like something I would want to have on my head, but man, it was good. There's a story at the bottom of this bottle, and you're, wow, okay. I know that's a lyric, but I'm JV. You've already met me. I'm the only JV that matters to you. And yes, you're going to wonder, what does the V stand for? I'm not going to tell you. I'm sure Nick knows. He better not tell you. But after the match, there was a little bit of back and forth between the Best Friends and the Lucha Bros, who were very upset with how the ending played out. But great match, fun match. Go back and watch it. I'm going to say that about most of the matches tonight, but I'm going to keep saying it because it deserves to be said. Go back and watch this match. Really fun. Now moving on to another title match, another tag title match, but this time the 6-man tag title match. We had the Mogul Embassy defending against a lot of New Japan talent. Not exclusively New Japan talent, but primarily New Japan talent, as Master Wato, Taguchi, and Leo Ruffin took on the Mogul Embassy for these tag titles. I am a big fan of trios titles. I'm a big man of 6-man titles, but there's just seems to be something off. It is not Vance. I am not Vance Archer, but thank you. Not Lance Vance either. Did Randy Orton return? Yes, actually, because this is a company that was based off the indies. Let me tell you, cutter after cutter after cutter after cutter. So even if he didn't physically return, he was there in spirit. Producer boy. Yes. Best answer. Short, sweet, to the point. But yeah, there's something about the Mogul Embassy that just doesn't really do it for me as a team. You have these 3 giant men, these 3 behemoths. I think I said that right. I'm going to say I did. Nobody's here to tell me otherwise. They just don't fit in the Ring of Honor roster as a trio. They just seem too imposing. They seem too physically overpowering, and that's what we got in this match. I will say though, Ruffin did a great job of selling himself as an underdog babyface, kicking out of things that he had no right to kick out of, showing a lot of heart and a lot of soul. I loved seeing this from him. If you're familiar with his work from NXT, former North American champion Leo Ruff, it's good to see him finding his footing here in Ring of Honor. I hope this match helps boost his appeal to a lot of people. I hope this match helps boost his character and gives him a platform to move forward. But in the end, it took all 3 members of the Mogul Embassy to propel Ruffin into the sky. Think like the old... what were they? The male cheerleaders, the Spirit Squad. Think like the old Spirit Squad finisher, where they just like launch somebody up and then drag them back down to the ground. They did that to Leo, and it was brutal. Finally getting the pin. Eventually, some team is going to have to take the titles off these 3. I don't know who it's going to be. Later in the night, some stuff happened that makes me think that we're closer to it than before, but we shall see. Moving on, we had our first our second singles title match of the night, as the Ring of Honor Pure Championship was defended, as Shibata defended the title against Daniel Garcia. Now, guys, we've talked about it a bunch. What's the best smoothie ingredients in your opinion? I don't know. I'm not much of a smoothie guy. I should be, though. Isn't it good for you? How good for you is it? The ones that make a milkshake. Not a smoothie. Or is it? What's the definition? Maybe it is. I don't know. But moving on to the singles match. Guys, I know we've talked a lot about Daniel Garcia's trajectory since joining AEW, since initially being connected to 2.0, which then turned into the Jericho Appreciation Society, then his brief flirtation with Bryan and the BCC, to sticking with the Jericho Appreciation Society and becoming this dancing goofball. Now, all that said, whether or not you're disappointed or happy he stuck with the JAS, or whether or not you're into or you're not into this dancing gimmick of his, the one thing that can no longer be denied is he has benefited greatly from the time and effort put in by a lot of these legends into him. He has developed more personality than he ever had prior to this. He's developing a funny charisma in these matches, this energy that was not there before. And he still feels very true to who he was. He still feels like a smug, arrogant little shit who just needs to be in the right position at the right time, and he will soon get the big wins. This match went almost the full 15 minutes. As you know, pure championship matches or pure rules in general dictate there is a time limit, no closed fists. Only 3 rope breaks per person, and I believe no, you're allowed to go to the outside. But yeah, those are some of the rules of being a pure wrestler. And great stuff. Great stuff between these two guys going back and forth. And it told the story of like I said, an arrogant Daniel Garcia who at multiple times could have pushed the aggression, pushed the offensive on Shibata, but instead chose to continue being the playful goofball, doing his signature dance stuff. I'm not going to do it here. I'm not going to embarrass myself. But even commentary said, all you're doing is allowing Shibata to regain his breath, regain his energy, regain his strength. And it ended up costing him in the end, as a rejuvenated Shibata was able to catch Garcia into a chokehold. Now, granted, this might have been my favorite part of the match. As we're closing in on that 15 minutes, we're in the 14-minute, 20-second mark. As he's choking him out, he dances. He dances while being choked out. It's like, I don't know if you guys remember Nikki Cross versus what's her name? Shayna Baszler, where Shayna's choking her out and Nikki is just laughing and smiling until she passes out. But that is what we got here. We got a dancing, silly goofball Garcia dancing until he gets choked out, finally landing on his butt, setting up for the PK kick from Shibata and the 1-2-3. This was a great match, much better, in my opinion, than the Shibata-Yuta pure match. And I'm just loving Shibata as the pure champion. It's great stuff. He knows how to play off of these goofy guys. As Garcia was dancing, doing his thing, he does his signature sit down, legs crossed. Garcia then dances his way down to the floor to meet him. Great stuff. These guys had great chemistry. They played off of each other very well. And after the match, as Shibata goes to honor the code of honor with the handshake, Garcia flips him off. And what does Shibata do? He grabs the middle finger, uses it to shake his hand, raise his hand, and that was the end of that. Great bit between these two guys, these great competitors. Very excited to see who challenges Shibata for the Pure Championship next. Moving on into what was just a brutal bloodbath. We had the Righteous, led by Vincent, Dutch, and now Stu Grayson, formerly of their opposing team, the Dark Order. The Dark Order in this match consisting of Evil Uno, Alex Reynolds, and John Silver. Now, as you guys know, if you follow AEW, the Dark Order are definitely showing a darker side to themselves. They are not baby faces anymore. They are not willing to just be Hangman's background guys anymore. I respect that. I'm excited for it. If you've been following the pod, you know most of us here are huge fans of the Dark Order, and we've been so sad just seeing them sink to nothingness is what it felt like. This has definitely been a rejuvenating couple of months, a rejuvenating couple of storylines for this team. And man, did they need the energy as they went into this, like I said, just absolutely brutal match. The Dark Order took it to the Righteous from the beginning. There were chairs, there were tables, there were ladders, there were thumbtacks, there were Legos, guys. Legos. This was absolutely violence personified. Uno was bleeding so much, it was pouring through his mask. They eventually ripped his mask open. He is just a bloody mess. Eventually, the finish comes down to Stu Grayson climbing the ladder in the middle of the ring. Why? I don't know. There was nothing up top. But then Uno knocking the ladder over, sending Stu Grayson flying through a table on the outside. Great bit. Eventually, he comes in, crawling on his knees, setting himself up for the Dark Order's finish with a smile on his face as he took it from all 3 members of the team, and Uno getting the pin. Oh, dude, I did not like... you haven't seen this level of brutality since Cutler versus Avalon. Man, I know that was actually rough. This was worse. Like, this was painful to watch. When Uno went for the pin on Grayson and he had to put his hands down on the Legos, it left an imprint on his hand that he was hurting. This was a great match. Again, another example of guys, you should go back and watch this if you didn't see it the first time. excellent trios match between these guys. I would love to see the Dark Order pursuing the ROH 6-man titles if they're not going to go for the AEW trios titles. They've earned a lot of people's respect tonight. They already had mine, but I'm even more happy to see these guys climbing up a little bit. I know Stu Grayson is excited for it. I know he's happy to see it. So good match, a lot of story, a lot of heart. Very excited to see where they go. And let me tell you, I want Stu back with the Dark Order. Maybe he doesn't want to be lost in the shuffle with them. Maybe Dark Order needs to be a trio right now to get some gold. But man, I would love to see him. I would love to see him back with the Dark Order. Legos are definitely worse than D&D dice. I wouldn't want to land on any of them. Let me just say, I wouldn't want to land on any of it. But I'd put Legos as worse, personally. Moving on, we had our World Championship match. Yep, you heard it right. These guys did not main event the show, and it wasn't due to lack of quality. This was a great match as a result of what happened on Dynamite. Nick, if you didn't watch Blood and Guts, I'm sorry. You're probably going to get spoiled now. But Pac put Stu back with them and Freebird the title. I love that. Absolutely. Do it. Or even let Stu get a singles run. He's more than capable of doing it. I would love to see it. But who knows? Maybe we'll get it. Maybe we won't. But moving forward, we had this World Championship match between the reigning, defending ROH World Champion Claudio Castagnoli defending against the bastard Pac. Guys, this was incredible. Put it on your ballot for potential match of the year matches. Great back and forth action. Are you still coming over to the mannequin party tonight? We have 17 mannequins rigged up to slap. I don't even really know how to begin to process that comment. Sorry, Mike. Maybe that's an Eric thing. You watched it last night. You're good. Good. So I don't mind spoiling certain things for you then. Due to the results of the Blood and Guts match from Dynamite, which saw Pac leave the Blackpool Combat Club high and dry in their battle against the Elite, Claudio had a bone to pick with the bastard and decided to put his Ring of Honor championship up for grabs against Pac. Granted, this couldn't have come at a better time due to his former challenger, Mark Briscoe, unfortunately being injured and due for surgery, and even his original challenger, Eddie Kingston, having to let go of that shot because he's in Japan for the G1. Great timing by the bastard to make his return for this epic matchup. Guys, there is nothing. We're going to acknowledge it. We're going to acknowledge it. I'm not going to say it out loud, but that comment is up there for everybody to see. But this was an excellent match. I don't even really know how to do it justice. It was from bell to bell, just pure action, pure adrenaline, pure intensity. Claudio going for the uppercut right away, getting a huge pop from the crowd. It was weird to see who the crowd was behind here. I think they just respected the talent of both men. Didn't really know who would be the babyface going in, who'd be the babyface coming out. We know that the Blackpool Combat Club shook hands with the Elite after the match, after TV ended, making some people think that was going to lead to a babyface turn. That wasn't the case, it seems, because there was some heelish action from Claudio throughout the match. But he was just brutalizing Pac in the beginning, going back and forth. There was a great spot where Claudio is military pressing Pac over his head and then just tosses him to the outside, face first into a table. Or not face first, I guess he flipped him through a table. It was absolutely brutal. Brutal, great stuff. There were a couple of instances where I thought Pac had it in the bag as he went for the Black Arrow. He went for the his submission, that stretch that he does, that he's beaten Kenny Omega with in the past. But Claudio, being the Swiss Superman that he is, powered through, carried him up to the second rope, and then hit him with an air raid siren. Great back and forth stuff. The finish came as Pac was getting ready to put the hurting on Claudio, and a sneaky little Wheeler Yuta comes out, distracts distracts Pac, setting up Claudio for a huge European uppercut, and then the Ricola bomb for the 1-2-3. Great match. Please, nothing I can say. I could not recap this because there was just too much action to recap. I know I missed the top rope powerbomb attempt. There was so much good in this match. Go watch it. But even more happened after the bell as Yuta and Claudio were celebrating in the ring. The remaining members of the Death Triangle, a full team we haven't seen in nearly 7 months, as Penta and Rey Fenix came out to support Pac. All three of them then attacked Yuta and Claudio. This then brought out the Best Friends, who still had a bone to pick with the Lucha Bros after the match earlier tonight. Big brawl. As the action's going on, who else comes out but everybody's favorite, Orange Cassidy, coming in and clearing house. It is so crazy that we have an Orange Cassidy who is absolutely a different specimen, a different monster than the guy who first faced Pac years ago now in AEW lore. He comes in Superman punching everybody in sight, knocking out Pac, and as he's about to go for Claudio, Wheeler Yuta is put in front of him. There was a moment of hesitation. He still went for it, but instead hit Claudio with the I said Superman punch, the orange punch. This was a great bit. I am now all in on Orange Cassidy taking Claudio out for the Ring of Honor title. Just add gold to this guy's backpack. Great stuff. And this is going to lead to a triple threat tag team match on Dynamite this week as the Lucha Bros take on the Blackpool Combat Club in Claudio and Moxley and the Best Friends. Going to be very exciting night so far already. But moving on, we had our main event. Guys, this has been the hottest feud in Ring of Honor. This has been, in my opinion, the hottest feud in women's wrestling. And Athena, the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, has been the best women's champion in all of professional wrestling as she took on Willow Nightingale in an epic main event. Guys, this is another one. I'm just gonna say it out the gate. You know, you feel like we shouldn't be surprised that Claudio and Pac put out an absolute banger. I agree. But even though I had high expectations, it still managed to surpass them. Yes, I was so looking forward to it. We were all hoping for it. They had earned it with all of their hard work. They deserved it with everything they've been through, putting on some of the best product in women's wrestling and just in wrestling in general lately. Well earned, and I'm glad they capitalized where Impact failed, as Deonna Purrazzo and Trinity could have easily main evented the Impact pay-per-view Slammiversary. They didn't go that way. I'm glad Ring of Honor did. Guys, this had big fight feel from the beginning. All right. As Willow comes out, greets her entire family who are sitting in the front row. Athena being this dominant champion who is 31-0 coming into this match. Just absolute main event superstar feel between these two hardworking women. The crowd was obviously big in favor of Willow, but there was a lot of appreciation for Athena. There was just so much action. There was high flying action. There was outside action. I joked with my Mark It Down pod mates that that Willow's parents both made this match and ruined this match all in the same breath, as we're seeing Willow getting pummeled, dropped on her back onto the apron, and instead of showing fear and worry, they showed absolute joy as their daughter was wrestling in this main event. It was really funny. It was really heartfelt. And it really was a nice counterpoint to how physical this match was. But yeah, moving on. There were so many false finishes as Athena hit her obliteration finish twice. And Athena kicked out both times. Athena hit her gut wrench power bomb in such an explosive manner. I was sure we were getting a new champion, but alas, it didn't matter. As Athena was able to trap Willow in her submission, in her crossface, It took everything Athena had to keep Willow in that move. Willow writhing around, wriggling around, going back and forth, going for the ropes. It took a lot of stretching, a lot of pretzeling, but Athena finally made Willow pass out, as Willow did not tap out, and that was how Athena continued her reign as Ring of Honor Women's Champion, going 32-0. Guys, I said it as this match started. I said it throughout the night, dealing with different matches. Go back and watch this one. If you are a fan of women's wrestling, you know what? Screw that. If you're a fan of amazing wrestling, go back and watch this match. These two women killed it. Willow Nightingale has grown so much as a performer since we first saw her debut in AEW to now being this stalwart mainstay in Ring of Honor. God willing, AEW decides to highlight her as such, not to mention her brief reign as the inaugural and New Japan Pro Wrestling Women's Strong Champion. She has grown so much in such a short time, and Athena is the force of women's wrestling. There is nobody better right now, in my opinion. She's killing it. She has mastered her character. She has mastered her matches. She has mastered her interactions with her opponents, both on the mic and in the ring. Absolute breathtaking performer. Happy to see this reign continue, even though I am sad Willow Nightingale didn't get her big coronation moment. Her time will absolutely come. After the match, Athena raises Willow's hand. Beautiful moment. And an excellent acknowledgement of this performer and this match. A lot of people are going to go back and remember this match as time goes on. Sup, Navarro? Happy to have you here, bud. Thank you for joining. Never watched Ring of Honor before. Glad to hear Willow and Athena put on a show. They really did. Look, you are far from the only person who hasn't been tuning into Ring of Honor lately or has never really had the opportunity to be exposed to Ring of Honor. It is wrestling at its finest. You know, it might not be sports entertainment at its finest, but there is always going to be excellent wrestling going on a weekly basis. This was an excellent pay-per-view. I'd highly recommend checking it out if you have the means. Great world title matches, great mid-card title matches. From top to bottom, excellent pay-per-view. I'd put it up there with some of the best of the year. You like Willow passing out. That's a good move for her character. Absolutely. She feels like a fighting underdog who is she's just waiting for that moment to capitalize, and that time will come. Do you think Athena and Willow facing off last week in the Owen impacted the match in any way, good or bad? It did, because we now knew that Willow could beat Athena. This young woman who's been pure positivity, pure excitement, pure joy, who just always seems to run just short of winning the big one. She beat Athena. Now, granted, maybe it was a little rough to have that and then come here, but that's fine. You know, both women won something different. Athena should still be Ring of Honor Women's Champion. She has been so good, so dominant. This reign should not just end in the middle of the year. It needs proper, beautiful build up, culmination, and that should probably happen at Final Battle. But if Willow had won, I don't think anybody in the world was going to be upset. But yes, great question. But yeah, guys, this was Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. It was an excellent pay-per-view. I know I sound like a broken record. I know I keep saying it, but it's just the truth. They delivered on another level tonight in a show that had high expectations. Every match surpassed them. Even the weakest match of the night, which in my opinion was probably Joe versus Castle, was a fun match. We had new champions crowned in Aussie Open. We had excellent defenses from Shibata, Samoa Joe, Claudio Castagnoli, I guess the Mogul Embassy, I suppose. I don't know. And Athena in the main event. Excellent wrestling, told a lot of incredible stories. I'm very excited. I will definitely be tuning into Ring of Honor this Thursday to see where we go from here, because man, they put everything they had into this pay-per-view. So fun, and a lot of competitors are now primed to be entering that next level whether it's title contention, if you're the Dark Order, whether that's seeing who's next if you're champion Athena, or if you still have a grudge if you're Claudio and Pac. So much going on, so much great action. And yes, awesome. Please check it out. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining me here. I'm James Gisanti. This is the Mark It Down podcast, where guess what? We cover wrestling. Crazy. I know. I don't think anybody else does that. We cover Raw with Danny. We cover AEW with the whole gang. We occasionally cover NXT with Chad. I cover Impact and sometimes now clearly Ring of Honor. Nobody covers Friday nights because who watches wrestling on a Friday night? We're not masochists. So, wait, it's Friday now, isn't it? We don't do it every week. I promise. That's just crazy. Crazy. And I'm not crazy. So thank you so much for joining me. Please check out our social media. If I don't do it, somebody else will put it. But all of our socials are down below. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We're getting Threads. We're linked in to somebody or something. I don't know what I'm linked into, but we're linked in. Great time being with you. I love you all. I do this because I love you. That's not really true, but I do love you. I would have probably done it regardless, but it makes me feel better to know that you're here. Thank you all. Have a great night. And please remember, watch Impact. And I guess in this instance too, watch Ring of Honor. Later.